Okay, so today we're going to dive into
Mm.
Genesis,
Mhm.
the creation narrative, right?
Yes,
Verses 3 through 10.
absolutely.
And I think, even though, people have heard this story so many times,
Right.
I think we can uncover some stuff
But for sure.
that maybe we haven't even thought about before.
I think so.
So let's get into it.
All right, sounds good.
What always gets me
Yeah.
is how it's like a step-by-step process.
The total.
Like, okay, first,
Light.
then darkness,
Right.
then firmament, separating waters, and then boom, dry land.
Yeah, it's really like a blueprint.
It is.
It's like watching a building being constructed piece by piece.
And that phrasing,
Oh, yeah.
and God said.
Uh-huh.
And it was so,
It's powerful.
talk about power.
Yeah. It's not just
No, it's words.
it's not just God speaking.
Yeah.
It's this declaration of creation.
Yeah.
It's the will. Exactly.
It's happening because God willed it to happen.
And you see that in other ancient myths too,
Oh, really?
where the divine word has this power to bring things into being.
But he doesn't just create, right?
No.
There's also this act of naming.
Yes.
So it's like light becomes day, darkness becomes night, the expanse is heaven.
Right, giving it an identity.
Yeah.
Like if you think
It's not just some random light.
if you think about a king
Yeah.
conquering a new territory, the first thing they do is they name things.
Right.
They put their stamp on it, right?
It's like ownership. Yeah.
It's a declaration of ownership.
That's happened.
And it happens all throughout the Bible.
Yeah.
You've got Adam naming the animals,
Right.
Jacob getting a new name, Israel. Yeah.
It's about identity and control.
It's like each name defines, like,
Yeah.
okay, this is where this thing goes.
It establishes an order,
Yeah.
right, within the universe.
Now, what about this?
And God saw that it was good.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, I always took it as like
Yeah.
an affirmation, like God's happy.
Sure.
But is it more than that?
Well, some would say that it's a value judgment.
Mhm.
It's not just that God created and it's there.
Right.
It's that God created and it's inherently good.
Okay.
And that has had a huge impact on
Yeah.
Western thought.
Yeah.
The idea that there's this inherent
Like morality built.
morality, a moral framework built into creation.
Okay, now, I'm sure some people listening are thinking,
Mm-hmm.
what about the firmament, right?
Right.
That dome separating waters
Yeah, we have to remember
above and below.
how ancient people
Right.
understood the universe.
Yeah.
They had this idea
I mean, we didn't even know
of a three-tiered cosmos.
the world was round back then, I guess.
Right. You've got the heavens above, the earth below, and then this underworld.
Like a
one.
layered cake.
Yeah, like a layered cake.
Okay.
And the firmament acts as this barrier
I see.
between the heavenly waters above
Right.
and the earthly waters below.
So are we supposed to think it's like a real dome?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Remember, the word firmament
Yeah.
just means expanse.
Oh, okay.
It's more about
So it's more of a
reflecting their
Like
understanding.
symbolic representation. Got it.
Exactly. We can't impose
Right.
our modern scientific ideas
Yeah.
on these ancient texts.
Still interesting to think.
It really is.
Like if you were hearing this
Yeah.
thousands of years ago
Hmm.
for the first time.
How would you understand the world differently?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so important.
It is.
Because back then,
Yeah.
they didn't have like,
No science.
Yeah.
No telescopes, no microscopes.
right.
They were looking at the world
Yeah.
in a completely different way.
What they could see.
Right.
So to kind of like sum it all up,
Okay.
we have, first of all,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
this idea that it's God's word that creates everything.
The power of the word.
Right. And then the naming,
Uh-huh.
which is so important because it
Yeah.
establishes order and identity.
It does.
And then,
And then the idea of good,
yes, the good,
this inherent goodness
like fundamental to
woven into the fabric of creation.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all in just a few verses.
It is. It's amazing how much
It
is
really is
packed into these few lines.
so much depth.
So much depth.
But I guess the question is,
Yeah.
if it's not like
If it's not a science textbook.
a science textbook,
Right.
then what's it trying to tell us?
What is the deeper message?
Yeah.
What is it trying to tell us about creation?
About us.
About our place in it?
About God.
And about our relationship to God?
I think that's something to think about.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think that's something we can all ponder.
Yeah.